Hi everyone, it's Katie, and today I'm here to share with you 7 tarot decks that I own that have keywords on the cards. Now this is a question that I've gotten on and off over the years, and basically I know that sometimes when people are first starting out and they want to get away from the books, they want to start reading without the books, you know, a few keywords on the cards can be really helpful to just kind of jog your memory and move you in the right direction without having to revert to the books. Other people might not really want to be experts at tarot and just want to enjoy reading, want to be able to just pull out some cards and get some messages. I think keywords are great for that as well. And then also for more advanced readers like myself, sometimes keywords can give us a new angle into a card, give us a new focus. I've definitely had that experience with some decks. Sometimes keywords can help the reading be a little bit more specific, help us really get the message really clearly because it's right there on the card. So there are lots of different reasons why you might want keywords on your tarot decks, so I thought I would share with you my top 7 tarot decks with keywords on them. So the first deck we will talk about is the Osho Zen, which is an old favourite of mine. As you can see, it's very well worn. This is the backing. And in this deck, I mean, some people argue that it's not a tarot deck. I think it is. It has the 78 cards with one extra that I don't include, and the 4 suits, the major arcana, everything like that. And of course we have a keyword. So instead of wands, cups and swords and stuff, we have more an elemental suit. So this would be the 10 of fire or the 10 of wands. This would be the 4 of water or the 4 of cups, turning in. Inner voice would be the high priestess. Isn't this beautiful? The rainbows are pentacles or equivalent to pentacles. It's just gorgeous. These little arrows symbolize which part of the court this belongs to, and this would be the King of Cups or the King of Water. And healing. So even the court cards have, you know, more of a keyword rather than the King of Cups or whatever. Possibilities is the 2 of fire, which would be the 2 of wands. Really love some of these keywords. The Fool has remained the Fool. Some of the major arcana have maintained their titles, but quite a few of them are changed as well. But all of the minors, they have their keywords. Slowing down. So this would be the Knight of Pentacles, and I love this because I always think of the Knight of Pentacles as the turtle versus the hare. You know, in that race, the tortoise versus the hare. You know, slow and steady wins the race. Love this card. This is the 2 of rainbows or the 2 of pentacles. We still have all this movement behind him and he's balancing along. So it's a little bit different, but you know, you can certainly see the connection there between the more traditional tarot. No-thingness is equivalent to the Hierophant, which is a very interesting take there. We have past lives. The Rebel, this would be the Emperor. Exhaustion, this just be the 9 of Wands. So I really like the keywords in this, and that is part of the reason that I found this such a helpful deck when I was first learning. Love this. This is the 7 of Pentacles, basically patience. Beautiful. So this is definitely a deck I would recommend. It has been a long time favorite. Next we have the Otherworld Tarot, and this is a deck that I don't really hear a lot about. It is published by Schiffer, which means that the cards are pretty glossy, but they're not as sticky as some other Schiffer decks that I've come across. And so for the Fool we have Leap of Faith, and this is pretty well Rider-Waite-Smith specific. The Magician we have Focus, Meditation for the High Priestess. This is rather cartoony, which, you know, I tend to like, but this will not be a deck for everybody. But creativity, I think these keywords are very classic in their meaning for the most part. Maybe a little bit different, like clarity may not be the first thing you think of when with the Emperor, but it works, it works. Spiritual guidance for the Hierophant. Relationships for the Lovers. Different energies for the Chariot. And the cool thing is this deck is also color coded, so the major arcana are this grey color, And then as we move to the cups, they're kind of a little bit less scenic than a lot of Rider-Waite-Smith decks, but there's still a lot of symbols and elements going on, so they're not entirely pippish. And then of course we also have the keyword to help us out as well. So I think this makes a great little beginner deck if the artwork appeals to you. Three of Cups is celebration, and then boredom, sadness, nostalgia. So they are very recognizable with the Rider-Waite-Smith classic meanings and associations. Eight of Pentacles, skill. Nine of Pentacles, on the right track. So I think with keywords like this is a very readable deck. Like this would be very easy to kind of pop out a few cards and start really establishing some actual useful messages for yourself and for those that you're reading for. Even the courts have keywords. Sword suit. Imprisoned by fear. Doubts and fears for the 9. And then the Wands. Which, you know, this is rather pippish, but the keyword is growth. And we have this seed here. And it kind of looks like it's taking place in a fire almost. That's what it reminds me of with this like salamander. And like in Australia, there are a lot of seeds that only really begin to germinate when there is a fire. So that's kind of what this reminds me of, which I like. I think that works. We have achievement again. You know, it's pretty pippish, but we have the house and the sun and an apple. You know, so plenty of stuff to work with, and of course a keyword to help you out. Next I want to talk about the Rosetta Tarot and a little bit about Thoth decks in general. Now this is the mini Rosetta in a tin. And Thoth decks, this is based on the Thoth, which, you know, does have titles for the minor arcana. So the mages, we still, you know, just have the mages labelled as they normally are. A few are different in the Thoth compared to the Rider-Waite-Smith. Like strength, I think, is lust. So the mages don't really have keywords, they just maintain their titles. But the minor arcana, they have titles as well, which I think can be helpful, especially if you're into the Thoth system, if you're into more of the occult esoteric stuff, if you're into Crowley, you know, they are kind of keywords on the cards. This is quite a different system to Rider-Waite-Smith, but I thought I would include it. So Crowley's actual Thoth deck, I don't know if all of the keywords are exactly the same, but you know, they're done similarly with similar sort of more pippish imagery, but still very symbol heavy with these titles for each of the minor arcana cards. So if this is an avenue you want to go down, although I think, you know, some of us feel like the Thoth is a bit unapproachable. It's pretty I don't know, it's kind of like this big monument. You know, I think the keywords can kind of help you step into that a little bit more. And I really love the Rosetta. I've not really been attracted to the Thoth specifically, but I think the Rosetta is really beautifully done. And although there aren't as many Thoth-based decks out on the market as there are Rider-Waite-Smith, there are still a number of them to choose from if you're interested. So this is another one with keywords. Next we have the Stretch Tarot. Now this is an indie deck, but it's not an expensive indie deck, which is great. Sometimes indie decks get very expensive. This is a very affordable one. Although I know it went out of print for a little while, it was sold out, but they were bringing it back out. So hopefully it will be back out by the time this video is up. And as we can see, this has titles as well for all of the cards, which is awesome. Ace of Pentacles is prosperity. I love this. Isn't that beautiful? Opportunity. Recognition. Other major arcana don't have keywords, but of course we still have their title. And I think for a lot of us, the majors are a lot easier to learn. It's the minors that can feel a bit overwhelming because, you know, there's a lot of them compared to just 22 of the major arcana. I really like this. You know, that's pretty recognizable from the Rider-Waite-Smith, with this kind of smug looking bloke in front of his cups. I really haven't seen any of the keywords that I don't like. You know, the risk is with keywords that, you know, if you have your own understanding of the cards, perhaps the keyword will complicate or conflict with that. So, you know, it's kind of, you got to be a bit careful there. But more often than not, I mean, I think you can just choose, like any other piece of symbolism, you can choose whether that's relevant for you right now. But if you are learning, I mean, I think it can be quite helpful to have that there to kind of get you started, especially if you're not an overtly visual person. You know, sometimes some people can just look at this and totally get all of the feels and all of the messages just from the imagery, and some people are a little bit more intellectual. So having that that keyword might kind of help spur you on in the right direction. So it's a beautiful little deck with great keywords. So I have 3 more decks to show you, 2 of which are out of print at the moment, although there are rumours that they will be returning. And one is my favourite deck of all time, the Gill Tarot. Now this is out of print, but I know US Games has been considering reprinting it. And I love these keywords. I mean, it's my favourite deck. And I think the keywords are great. They really add something. This is another deck where the minor arcana are not super scenic, so it's quite helpful that there's a keyword. But it's cool because for a lot of them, the keyword is kind of, I don't know, like included in the image. It's not just like a title at the bottom. Not for all of them, but you know, it's drawn to fit in rather than just like a type print at the bottom. Love this. I really love the colours. Everything about this deck is just really very me. I adore it. And even as we see, the court cards have their keyword as well. The major arcana don't have their keywords, but you know, we still have their title. And as I said, I think the majors are often not the thing that people have trouble with. So for me, I mean, I know some people think that this art is a bit crude. I really like it primarily because it really it evokes a response in me. Like even if I wouldn't hang this up on my wall, immediately I get a response from this. And even the way that oppression is kind of like squeezed in there. I mean, everything, including the way in which the title or the keyword is actually done. Not just the keyword itself, but how it's actually depicted on the card gives you some of the meaning, which I think is awesome. Instability. So this is a deck that I adore, and obviously I think has really wonderful keywords on it too. The next one is the incredible Next World Tarot. This has become an absolute favourite for me since I got it at the beginning of the year. And this one is currently out of print. It sold out very quickly. And as you can see, it's massive. I've done an unboxing or walkthrough of this one. But from all that I've heard, Christy C. Road is looking into getting this republished. And I'm very, very hopeful that that is what happens, because this is an incredible deck. And as you can see, we have keywords. If you know anything about astrology, there's also a bunch of astrology associations. But the keywords are down here, and I love these keywords. I think they work so well and really provide a specific lens to look at this imagery with. I mean, I think as beautiful as the imagery is, and like you definitely get plenty of meaning from the imagery, these keywords really kind of focus you in on the intention behind the message, which I love. The court cards don't so much have keywords, they more have titles, and all of these are different. So the Knight of Wands is the fire starter, which I think is so cool. We have the Seven of Wands here, which is courage. These definitely, their essential core meanings come back to a Rider-Waite-Smith meaning that I'm familiar with, but they're entirely revolutionized. They're done in a new way. So we don't so much have keywords for the major arcana, but I mean, that seems to be a case with a lot of decks with keywords. But we do have some associations and stuff down here. which may help you if you're familiar with those systems. The aces are all the roots of their element. And yeah, I really enjoy the keywords for the minor arcana. Love this, love it. I think they give a really interesting take on the traditional messages. And finally, I want to talk about good old Doreen. Now, I know people have all sorts of opinions on Doreen Virtue and her decks, especially her tarot decks, but I think they're not too bad. So these, you get even more than just a keyword, you get a message. So these, I think, are great for beginners, especially, you know, not everybody wants to be the next expert on tarot. Some people just want to be able to use the cards. Or even if you are learning, I think these cards are great. I mean, I don't particularly like the imagery, but I found these cards to be like really spot on, a little bit creepy actually sometimes. So for these we have elements instead of suits, which is pretty common. And we have a little message. So for the Two of Fire or the Two of Wands, we have, you've come into your own, new partnerships or contracts continue to move forward. So there's kind of a few different messages. You can take the whole thing, or you can just pick out the bit that kind of really stands out to you. Here, even the major arcana, which are kind of done a little bit differently to the minors, even they have their message as well. And this is the Angel Tarot by Doreen, and she has a few other tarot decks now. The Guardian Angel one, the Animal Tarot, and another one, the Archangel. I have had the Guardian Angel one, which I really enjoyed. I know other people have said great things about the Animal Tarot. I get why people aren't a fan of Doreen, but you know, I really think these are a lot closer to tarot and the really core meanings of tarot than people give them credit for. I know they can be a bit lighthearted, but I don't have a problem with that either. I think there is space in the tarot world for lighter, more approachable, gentler decks. I think it's a great place to start. And even I really like how the courts are done. How we have, this is the Knight of Earth or the Knight of Pentacles. We have time to buckle down and get things done. Honor your commitments, a guardian angel. And here we have kind of extra keywords about the Knight. Loyal, dedicated, honorable, kind. So here we have a description of what this person might be like, or, you know, the sort of traits we want to bring in if this is supposed to be symbolizing us. So yeah, I think these decks are great. You know, they might not be entirely me. They might not be the sort of thing that I will always use, but I use them with my mum all the time and we get great readings with them. I think they're wonderful. So if this is the sort of thing you're into, go for it. The Five of Air, an unwise choice. Learn what you can from this situation. Review everyone's motives. Like that, especially that motives issue. That works really well for the Five of Swords. So that is the Angel Tarot, and as I say, she has a few others that are kind of done in a similar vein. So if this is appealing to you, but maybe you want to explore something a little bit different in terms of the imagery or whatever, or angels aren't your thing, check out the Animal Tarot by Doreen Virtue. She has a few that are done similarly with these sort of keywords and stuff. And I think they're good little decks. So these are all the tarot decks that I own that have keywords on them, whether for all of the cards or just the minor arcana. But I hope that you found this interesting. I've gotten this question a few times, and I know for beginners, those keywords can be really helpful in getting you off the books and into the cards. And beyond that, even for me, like, I mean, the Next World and the Gill Tarot are two of my favorite decks, and even the Osho Zen. But the Next World is a totally different world in terms of the meanings, and more the images and the meanings. And as someone who is not a beginner, I get so much out of that deck, and those keywords kind of really add value to me. So I love keywords on decks. I mean, I wouldn't want all of my decks to have keywords, but I think it's great to have access to these. And I wouldn't hesitate in recommending any of these. I know there's a few others, like the Tarot of the She. I think I recall that deck has keywords as well. I know there are others. So if you know of any others, if you have any others that have keywords, please leave those below so we can kind of collate a bit of a list. I might add them to the description actually. I'll add other decks that I know have keywords in the description. So if you're looking for a deck with keywords but these don't quite suit you, check out the description and hopefully there'll be a list of a few other decks that might be options for you. But I do hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, so much love. Bye!